Hello, my name is Benjamin Hart. I'm an American attorney and the managing director of Integrity Legal here in Bangkok, Thailand. As the title of this video suggests, we are discussing permanent residence here in Thailand. For those who are unaware, if you are in Thailand and you meet the criteria, you've been in Thailand paying taxes, maintaining long-term visa status, work permit status, you may be eligible for permanent residence here in Thailand. And depending on the facts in your given case, we may be able to assist you. Those who are interested in permanent residence, generally speaking, the window for application opens at the end of the year. If you would like to proceed this year, we're here in March. March, April, May is not a bad time to think about getting started because, quite frankly, it takes a while to compile these petitions and then the process itself takes a while. So sort of the sooner you get moving, the better is basically the message to take away from this video. That said, there has been recent news regarding changes to the TM6 system here in Thailand. They're digitizing it at immigration, and that's what we're getting into here. I thought of making this video after reading a recent article in the Pattaya Mail, that's pattayamail.com. Article is titled, TM6 Requirement for All Foreigners Creeping Towards May 1. The new system, the Thailand Digital Arrival Card, TDAC, is not technically an application for entry, but a digital restatement of the information formerly contained in the now defunct TM6, whose details were years ago scribbled by wary passengers about to arrive in Thailand. So the TDAC, to be accessed via the official Thai immigration website or mobile application, will need passport details, purpose of visit, accommodation address, and contact information, including a personal phone number and relevant email addresses. Wow, email addresses are even on there. Wow, this thing is, I don't love this. And the other thing is, to my mind, this is another example of where digital is just a euphemism for annoying. Okay, like you're coming off a 32-hour flight from the United States and now you got to mess around with whatever digital system. I mean, does anybody actually live in this world? Have you ever dealt with government digital portals? Yeah, do you really want to deal with that when you're coming into Thailand as a tourist? I got to be honest with you, a lot of the government apparatus is obsessed with digital. On one level, I get it. On another level, it's not even so much the surveillance side. Those issues concern me too. But it's this just constantly being harassed and annoyed and told that you have to, touch the. It's like buying movie tickets now. You can't even go to a movie theater and just walk up to a guy at a window, hand him some cash, buy your tickets, walk in, watch a movie, and leave. You got to walk up to some screen. You got to poke around on the screen. You got to pull out a credit card or your phone, and then they got to interact like R2-D2 talking to the ship in Star Wars. Why are we going through all of this extra rigmarole for something we used to do in the analog world 10 times more easily than the way they're doing it now? Now, in the immigration context, you can at least convince me of the argument that, hey, we're not having to print up physical cards anymore, so there's no need for this. That said, the entire past year begs the question if we even need it anyway. Because we haven't had it, and have dogs and cats began living together? Is there mass hysteria in Thailand? No. And on top of that, as we'll get to here in a moment, they're adding now annoyance for folks like PRs. Quoting further, the Ministry of Tourism and Sports says all foreigners on every future trip here will need to submit the digital TM6 form online. Here's another one. What's the deal with these ministries that aren't immigration talking about this stuff? It's Interior's job to deal with immigration. Why is the Ministry of Tourism and Sports talking? I guess they may have liaised. There is a tourism component to this stuff. But I find, again, why don't we get some information from immigration? And then meanwhile, again, why are we've had a year and a half without this thing and everything's been working. It really begs the question whether we even need to do this. That said, quoting further, the Ministry of Tourism and Sports says all foreigners on every future trip here will need to submit the digital TM6 form online. There are no exceptions for visa holders of any kind, apparently including permanent residents who don't even have a visa, but do need a reentry permit. To be clear, and I think this is Barry Kenyon writing, tip of the hat to you, sir, not a reentry permit. The technical term for that is actually an immigrant visa. Permanent residents, if they leave Thailand, need to get an immigrant visa before leaving so as to preserve their permanent residence while in the kingdom. That said, quoting further, this has angered retirees, work permit holders, and other long stayers who point out that the Thai authorities have that information anyway. Yeah, again, we've been doing this without this system for a year and a half, 2 years now. it really does beg the question whether any of this is really all that necessary, especially with the level of biometric technology they have. That said, quoting further, although the idea is to fill in the TDAC in advance of travel. So now let's put obstacles in people's path to get on the plane to even come here in the first place. Is that good policy for Thailand? Quoting further, there is provision for filling in the form in special kiosks on arrival at Thai airports or entry points. Well, thanks so much for accommodating people there. Quoting further, thus the temporary conclusion is that airlines will not be refusing boarding to passengers who can't show their received QR codes, as there's an alternative, but nobody knows for sure. Well, and also, once they start doing it and it becomes the norm, are they going to make everybody do it? I don't want to have to flash a QR code to come back to my own country here in Thailand. And I'm not a permanent resident, fair enough, I'm a citizen, but PRs, this is their country. I get that they're not a Thai national, but they've opted to live here. And now we're going to force them to go through all these extra hoops now just to come home. I think this whole thing is ridiculous. I think it needs to be rethought. And I think people need, especially in the government, need to stop being so obsessed with digitization.